Dan, can you tell us a little about your airplane?
Well, I try to tell you what I know about it. This is a 1998 WACO YMF-5C, manufactured by WACO Classic Aircraft Company. They were originally the Weaver Aircraft Company, so that's how they came up with WACO. They started making airplanes in the 20s. The company shut down in 1948. There was an anticipated general aviation boom after World War II that never materialized, so the company shut down. Fast forward to the 1980s, some people decided, we're going to make WACO airplanes again. So they started making them under the name of WACO Classic Aircraft. If you look on the tail, it says WACO Classic. They have since changed their name, and they are now known as WACO Aircraft Corporation, because they don't only build the WACOs now, they also build Great Lakes. And within the last couple of years, they started making Junkers, the German airplanes that you know from World War II with the corrugated skin. They are making 4 different models of Junkers, all in Battle Creek, Michigan. I actually was honored enough to go for a tour of the WACO factory in Battle Creek, because that's where I bought this aircraft. And they gave me a complete tour of the factory. The most impressive part by far was the wing shop. It looked more like a carpenter shop, all wood. They were absolutely beautiful. There was a fully constructed wing on a bench. They hadn't fabricated it yet. I picked up one end and one of their workers picked up the other end. It was light as a feather. 2 people can just pick it right up like this. Wow. When I say light as a feather, it probably weighed 70 pounds between 2 people. That's nothing. So that was really cool. So as you bring you walk around through here, just like any other airplane, check the ailerons for full motion. These ailerons are operated with push rods, no cables, and bell cranks. So those controls go to the bottom aileron, connected to the upper aileron through this tube right here. So as you look at, during your walk around, just want to make sure that tube doesn't have any play in it. The bolts are in, cotter pins. You look at this, the back here of they call this an N strut for obvious reasons. It looks like an N. So make sure the bolt is through that. Can't see any cracks. Come around and look underneath also. Being a fabric airplane, it wouldn't be unusual if you were landing, especially off airport somewhere, which I don't do with this airplane, but to get tears in the fabric underneath. It happens. So you want to make sure you look underneath also. Make sure everything looks clean. All the inspection plates are in place. Same thing with the front of the end strut. Make sure everything's attached. Okay, now these are flying and taxi wires. And the way to know the difference between a flying wire and a taxi wire, the flying wire supports the wing in flight. The taxi wire supports the airplane on the ground. So right now, because the airplane is on the ground and the wings want to hang, they want to sag, so these would be the taxi wires holding the wings. In flight, the wings want to lift. So these 2 here would be the flying wires. They're not really wires, they're stainless steel flat bars is what they basically are. Around here to the wheel pant, these things are attached to the airplane. It would take a bomb to get these things to come off. So they made it so you can stand on them. And they put little steps there so you can get up here, up on the step, and check your oil, and look at the leading edge here. The batteries are up here on the front of the nose, so you can make sure that that cover is on securely. You shake the cowl, make sure it's secure. You can also look, this is a fuel sight gauge. So there's a float that goes up into the tank, and then there's a indicator that's connected to that float. As you start to use up your fuel, you'll see the indicator come down, and when it hits this yellow marker on there, on the ground with the tail down, you have approximately 10 gallons of fuel in that wing. They recommend you don't take off with less than that, so you don't unport and run out of fuel.
Well, I find they fly better with fuel in them than they do without.
It's much better with fuel in them. And speaking of fuel, this has got to be the most simple fuel system on almost any airplane you can imagine. On this particular model, has an outboard tank here, has an inboard tank here. All it is connected with this fuel line. And then from this tank here, it has 2 ports, front and back. Gravity feeds down to the engine. There's not even a fuel pump on this airplane. It's all gravity feed. And we had to recently repair one of these fuel tanks. It was an outboard on the other side. 4 bolts, here, 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 here. The whole tank lifts right out of the wing. It was so easy.
Nice.
Yeah, the top of the tank is actually the top of the wing. It's curved.
Yes.
It came out in 15 minutes. It was just pretty amazing. So one thing that I wish there was a check valve right here so the fuel can only run this way. Because when you fuel it, let's say you want to fuel just the inboard, some of that fuel is going to come back to the outboard. So you're never really sure how much fuel is in this thing unless you top all the tanks. But if you do just want the inboards topped, there's going to be some in the outboard, so you're going to have more than you know. So that's a good thing. Okay, so if you are going to check your fuel, there's only one place to do it on this airplane. This comes off the gascolator right here. So you just put your fuel tester on there, push up onto this rubber tube, and the fuel will drain into the gascolator. Now to the heart of this airplane, in my humble opinion. It's a Jacobs 755 B2M engine. 7-cylinder radial. And as all of you that have ever heard a radial engine in action, there is nothing like the sounds of a radial engine. It is music to your ears if you're a pilot, I would say.
I love round engines.
They're amazing. It's the first and only round engine I have ever operated. And it's a learning experience. I've had the plane for a year, so I know there's still a lot I'm learning about this, but it is a lot of fun. This particular engine has 2 magnetos, both Bendix. This propeller is a MT wooden prop. MT is a company out of Germany, by the way, and it's one of my favorite parts of this airplane because it's just beautiful. I got some pretty good advice from a very knowledgeable WACO guy. Said every time you fly the airplane, when you're done, just come out and put your hand here. If this flange is hot, it means the prop is loosening up. If this prop loosens up too much, you can have some real issues.
Well, that's good to know.
So that's good to know. This just came out of annual last week. They retorqued it and said that they really didn't have to tighten it. They were in pretty good shape. This engine costs you a lot of drag. When you look at this airplane, I mean, obviously the struts, the wires, the landing gear, it's not a slick airplane.
Right.
So a lot of drag here, but being opened up like that, there's also a lot of cooling that comes through. And in my opinion, it's worth the extra gas. One thing about this airplane, when you're ground handling it, the bottom of this, the lower wings have a 24-foot wingspan. The upper wings have a 30-foot wingspan. A lot of people have had problems because as they're moving it around, they're looking at the lower wing as they're pushing it into a hangar, not thinking about this one being sticking out.
That is really good to know.
It is. That's some of the best advice that I've been given so far about this airplane. Look at the upper wings when you're pushing it on the ground. Second best, when I got my checkout from a WACO pilot, don't use paper charts.
It's a 2-holer, so there's 2 places in here.
Yes, sir.
But you have the first front holer, you have it all blocked off.
I do have it blocked off right now. That front holer actually has seating for 2 people. So this is a 3-place aircraft.
Really?
It is.
Oh.
And they do a lot of sightseeing in this. As a matter of fact, they used to do sightseeing out of this airport.
Yes.
For several years. But you could put 2 people up there. The reason that I have that front windshield off now and have the cover on it, if you're flying it by yourself and nobody up there, it is a lot smoother for the pilot in the rear cockpit as far as airflow.
Yes.
Because that windshield will push the air up It'll hit that lower wing and it just does this. It's not terrible, but much, much more comfortable to fly from the back with that front cockpit covered. The front cockpit does have stick, rudders, has a throttle, but it does not have carb heater mixture. When I bought the airplane, the front cockpit also had a navcom and a GPS in the front.
Oh, wow.
Which, as the pilot in the back, is completely useless to you. I believe this airplane at some point was set up to instruct. And that's why I think that stuff was in the front. I have since taken all that out of the back, or out of the front, and just went to a basic cockpit, needle ball and airspeed, basically.
Yes.
So, anybody who's in the front that wants to fly it, they've got enough instrumentation to do it. I put in a Garmin 355 XL. Brand new. It's only about 6 months in there now. And I love it. I love it. I also put in a GDL 88, which allows you to now get traffic on your screen and you can get weather through that. The elevator, it's a regular just cable and pulley elevator. And same thing with the rudder, just cables. The trim is a jack screw up on the front of the elevator there. As you operate the control in the cockpit, it just spins the jack screw and the front of that stabilator moves up and down, and that's your trim.
It's like a Super Cub or a Cessna 180.
Exactly.
They do the same thing.
Exactly. And then one last thing, baggage compartment holds 75 pounds. It's actually pretty good. I was able to, when I picked up the airplane, I was actually put a full-size roller bag and a bunch of other things in there, so pretty well thought out.